Going into POE2, there are some things that I'd like to talk about first. But recently, regardless of the game, I realized that there are some things that we've forgotten, and this video is just supposed to be a reminder for all of you about what to do before you start a new experience going into this game. Firstly, I'd just like to talk about the proper mentality. And the main thing is that I don't want you to treat it as something competitive or as something that is supposed to be very difficult. I want you to treat this as it's your first game, the first time. Just don't rush it, and if you're a new player, then just really enjoy the experience. And if you do come from POE1, then don't let your old habits take over. Because it's not the same. It's not the same game. It's not the same thing. That's why they created something completely new. So be open to the new world, to the sounds, the visual experience, all of that. Second thing I'd like to address really is a little term that I figured out here, and it's called FOMO, which is fuck FOMO. And we all start with the same information provided, everything from the leaks that PoE has been giving us themselves on YouTube and anything else. Everything that is new and provided to us, it's an experience that we should all have together. It's not a competition between who gives out the most information, who creates the best builds early on and whatnot. It's about the experience, and I just wanted to tell you that you shouldn't really have any fear of missing out on anything because you're not missing out. There is no point behind that besides having the very, very early access that they've had when they flew to New Zealand, certain streamers and whatnot, while testing the game. That's the only thing. Other than that, like, we're all starting something new. And just like another thing is set like a clear intent when going into this. Before just starting a new game, just remind yourself why you're playing it. You're here to explore, to learn some things, to have some fun, and most importantly, I think, is that last part. Like, we've recently been addicted to progression and grinding in all sorts of different games. Either it's a battle pass for, I don't know, camos for Black Ops or in Call of Duty or anything else. It's just a grind, right? And it's the same thing in like PoE. Everybody instantly wants to go for their first mirror, for their first Mage's Blood, to start gathering their capital early on. It's just like, if that's your intent, then that's good. But if it's not really, and you just want to play the game, then just do that. And once again, going back to the other point, it's just like, don't fear missing out. You're not missing out on anything. You're creating your own journey. Path of Exile itself is a single player game. Even if you play with other friends or whatnot, it's not like these conditions are that you can only do that on multiplayer. No, all the content you can do solo. And it's mostly, and most of your time, you're going to be spending solo either in your hideout, either in the cities or towns if it's in PoE2 or whatnot. So, you know, it's your experience and you craft your approach to it. And just like I meant before, is like another point is just adopt this beginner's mindset. Even though if you're an experienced PoE player or you're a completely new player, then just approach this game as if you're a curious child. Accept that it's okay to not understand everything at first, and celebrate those small wins and discovering mechanics or mastering those new features that are added. Just like, imagine you're 12 years old again, then how would you play this game? We got all caught up in our daily lives, as it's school, work, wives, kids, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. Remember that feeling that you can't wait to get back home and finish that race you had in Need for Speed, or, for example, another boss that you gotta kill, or finish a raid, or finish a next level. Let's just try to go back and replicate that. Let's just play the games how they're supposed to be played, not with 2 tutorials on multiple monitors and all of that. It's just like, look, don't get me wrong, tutorials and applications or like POB or anything is amazing and help out immensely. But that should just be the tip of the iceberg, the final touches of your creativity, you know, the cherry on top. You know, where are the times where we just discover these cool Easter eggs that we had, or cool interactions or anything, or in this case maybe some cool combos or different things that we can learn in the game, you know? We've just been like these tutorial and guide sheep, and we're only following like the best, the fastest, the most profitable, whatever, let's just not ruin our gaming child and our experience now. Another thing is just like let go of the end game, like avoid obsessing over being like very fast and just completing it very quickly and you know, trying to be the best in everything. It's just like treat the process as the reward, right? Like think to yourself, like, what can I discover today that surprises me? What makes me better? What allows me to experience something new and learn? You know, just playing without these walkthroughs and guides initially, just embrace the mistakes. They are part of the discovery process. Like later on, yes, once again, they're very needed, and after all, I would be a hypocrite if I told you to, you know, learn about the game and learn the experience and then told you to avoid guides. I want to underline that just do not do that instantly. Don't go for the best builds or whatever that pops up. Just try the game for yourself, and when you're really stuck and you really feel like you're in a bad position, like, oh no, this isn't for me, then go for it. You know, try something else, try something different. You know, just don't give up too fast, because, you know, the essence of the game itself is just developing your character and solving the problems in your build and finding the ways to progress. Another thing is that I think goes really underappreciated many times now in the gaming industry in the recent years. It's just like paying attention to the game's world building, you know, the story, the music, the design, the dialogues. You know, I've probably got around 4,000 hours in Path of Exile itself, which is a lot for me. And I honestly have no idea about the lore. I have no idea about, you know, any of the dialogues that are there. The only thing that comes to mind in terms of dialogue is just Kirak jumping in front of Xana before the Cyrus fight. That's all I have, right? So just like celebrate, just like experience and really enjoy the creativity and the uniqueness of that. You know, just think I'm stepping into someone else's imagination and I get to explore it, right? That's the whole thing. Going a little bit back, it's just like another point I have here. Step away from comparisons. Like, comparing yourself is just the thief of joy, and I don't know if anybody's heard that before, but I really enjoy that quote because recently I've been comparing myself a lot, and just try not to compare yourself. Like I said, it's a single player game. Like in the end, if you didn't have anything else like on YouTube, anything else on Discords, any of your friends or whatever that would not be playing, how would you approach the game, right? Just you know, remind yourself that this is your story and no one else's pace or play style or the top 1%. It doesn't matter to you. You are not them, and if you want to strive to be them, then go for it. But most of us gamers just forgot about that, and we like to compare ourselves, and we feel like we're playing the game wrong, or we're bad at it, and that's not the case. So when you start playing, I just want you to kind of immerse yourself in the moment. You know, even when starting off, when, you know, Friday hits, then just try not to distract yourself. You know, even like set your phone aside, you know, put on headphones and just let the music flow, let the dialogue flow, let the experience. The sound effects have been sounding amazing ever since we saw so many of these teasers that they've been giving us. You know, the visual representation of everything. Like, you do not need any more visual cues once you start playing, I don't know, like Ball Lightning or something that they've recently leaked. Before that, and you know, that sound, that the visuals, like, you do not need any more stimulation than that. And we have recently really grown into an overstimulated society, in my opinion. I don't know, maybe that's a little tinfoil hat kind of thing, but that's definitely one of those opinions I have. And you know, just remind yourself that this is your time to unwind and escape. You know, that's why we play. We just want to have fun. We want to play in this little reality, get out of our normal lives, you know, especially since most of us probably have a job. Most of us, you know, come back home, we got to take care of our whatever we need to do, and then we can just sit down and relax. And a lot of people, especially in POE that I know personally, really treated it more like a second job almost, right? I have to grind for this. I have to, you know, upgrade this. I have to do that. You know, you don't have to do anything. Really, it's one of those things that you think you have to, and it's a sort of way to progress. But in the end, there's no pressure. Like, who's pressuring you? Do you have a boss over your head saying that if you don't get this done today, then you're fired? You know, I'm going to do that. Like, no, it still goes back to the same thing. Like, enjoy the experience. You'll get there gradually, right? You know, a step a day is, you know, still a step forward, and it just keeps going. So, you know, I just, in conclusion, just wanted you to remember that you can celebrate the newness of this game. Just remember that playing a new game is kind of rare, and you know, there's this only one first time for every title. You know, just treat this as an opportunity to experience something fresh and unique, even though it's kind of like an additional game. Even though it says POE2, it's just the basics and the core mechanics that even some of those things have changed. And, you know, it should entirely feel like a different game. It's a different experience. Like, even the movement itself, you know, that's a pretty big thing, because we're so used to, you know, right-clicking or whatever instead of playing on WASD. That's already a really big difference for many people that have either, you know, converted from POE1 to 2, or just are a new player to, you know, ARPGs. Then most of the time it's a clicky thing more than WASD movement. And, you know, I just want you to focus on the curiosity and the joy you have, rather than the, like, achievements and speed, like the speed of how fast you get those achievements. Because once you get that one achievement, it's just going to be there. That's it. That's the end of that experience, right? And just cherish those things, and you'll really rediscover the magic of gaming the way it was just meant to be experienced.